stand if you rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Bullring,
Here.
Mr. Blanton,
Here.
Mr. Robinson,
Here.
Can I get a motion for the acceptance of the minutes of August 21st, 2024, and the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees? I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the August 21st, 2024, regular meeting of the Board of Trustees.
Second.
Mr. Bullring,
Yes.
Mr. Blanton,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Also, a motion for the acceptance of the minutes of September 4th, 2024, from the Board, regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. I'll make that motion to accept the minutes of September 4th, 2024, regular meeting of the Board of Trustees.
I will second.
Mr. Bullring,
Yes.
Mr. Blanton,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
Motion for the acceptance of the invoices, to the exception invoices for the poll holders.
yes.
Make a motion that we accept all invoices as presented by the fiscal officer for the month of August.
I will second.
Mr. Bullring,
Yes.
Mr. Blanton,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson,
Yes.
All right, Hamilton County Sheriff's Report. Okay.
Hello, Mayor.
All right.
Good evening. This is Tim McElroy. Staff for last month, I'm going to read to you, and I know there's some questions on it, and I'll get to that. So in August 2024, we had 313 runs, 244 of those were dispatched, 69 of those were self-initiated details. For service exchange, there's 92 times Miami Township car requested outside Miami Township. 82 of those times they did go, 10 of those were disregarded en route. In exchange, 124 times county cars were requested into Miami Township. 63 of those times they were sent, 61 of those times they were disregarded. During the month, we took 5 criminal reports and 6 non-criminal reports. We also took 6 auto accidents. Now, the elephant in the room, obviously, is that we had a shooting on the road where a subject was killed. I can assure you that the county, our department, is throwing all resources at it. That night, we had officers respond, including pulling officers from different townships to assist, supervisor and officers. Of course, we pulled in officers early from the third shift to come an hour early, I think, from that shift to assist also. Our CIS and our evidence technicians also responded and forced to that incident. And I can tell you that my office is actually across the hall from getting into CIS, and I was formerly in CIS myself. So good relationships is being worked as a investigation in progress. I think it's too much, obviously, other than what's been released in the media, but it is being worked. Yes, hot and heavy would be the right phrase for it. I can assure you it's being investigated those things. Anybody have any questions?
Yes, sir, I do. I don't want to be critical, but I'm going to be critical. That is a homicide. That is one of the most serious incidents that we can have in this township or anywhere. That property is on East Miami River Road. Anyone looking at it can see there's a hill behind it that's nothing but woods for thousands of feet. Each property on East Miami River Road goes up the hill. When we respond to a shooting like that, we have no idea who shot him, I assume. Am I correct?
Well, once again, I won't get into, but it came out as a shooting. Some witnesses had driven by.
Okay.
We saw somebody saw injured.
The point I'm getting at is we don't know who shot, where they're at, but we assume they could be in the woods or anywhere. If we had that many officers on the scene, Gum Run Road is directly next to it, closest intersecting street within 500 feet. Any officer in that area goes up Gum Run Road, knows there's a private development that goes up off Gum Run Road on the hill. I personally live on that private development. The man that was murdered, his property comes up in a butts mine. No officer for 5 hours. And I heard there was up to 30 officers down there and SWAT. Not one officer came up that private lane and advised us to stay in our house, to sit there and watch for anything. These homes on that hill hardly have a tree on it. So it is a fine line, like this wall. Trees go to East Miami River. This is all open green space with 4 or 5 homes on 5-acre lots each. You could see for hundreds of feet each way. That would have been a prime spot for an officer to sit, to observe, or to even notify the residences. And we had not one single response from anyone, but chatter from cell phones from people in the area telling us what was going on. It was very troubling. They had a drone in the air. The drone had to see our property, probably saw me out walking around curious after a while, after I locked the doors and stayed inside for 3 hours. No one called us. No one showed up. I notified every property owner on that hill. Not any property owner on that hill saw an officer. And I think that is absolutely terrible. And I'm not going to criticize, but that was a flaw. An officer, that was an escape route. What if that gentleman or whoever could have been in the woods would have came up the hill, took one of us hostage, took our vehicle, could have went down the private lane and up down the road to West Buffalo to Bay on. Guys, we're talking 300 feet of woods. There's a dead man. There's my home. Can you see the concern, Logan?
I can. I can't say that the response, I can say the response was pretty quick to the area. As you said, there was also a spot, which I failed to mention, and drones up in the air. But I can tell you a little inside baseball that one of the witnesses passersby by had the subject going into a particular building down there. So I saw it was called, and that's why the entrance was made in that area. I'm not saying it completely exonerates us from going up and having an officer go up into your neighborhood as well, just as an in case. That would be something I'll discuss with the officers, with the supervisors. But I can tell you that there was a concentration of where they believed that the subject had gone to due to some witness accounts. I'm not saying that wasn't still that we should have had somebody up there. But as you point out, we did have drones in the area. We were watching the area during the whole.
I saw the drone, but at 8 o'clock when it got dark, my phone rings and goes, suspect has been apprehended. The police have got him. SWAT's been released.
Who said that?
It was a neighbor, a phone call. That's how rumors go. So naturally, I call all my neighbors, relax, they got the guy. Good. That's all bogus. They still don't have it. So this gentleman claims a police officer told him they had someone.
Well, I can tell you that our officers didn't relay that to him. I don't know where he got that information. That wasn't from the police officer because we didn't have it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We didn't have it. Then I hear it on the next day. Well, we don't have nobody. Someone's on the loose. And we still have
One
one
person talks to another person, talks to another person, and go
Right.
the storage.
Exactly. But the point I'm getting at is, I felt an officer should have came that close, 300 feet. They know a home's up there. They know a lane's up there. They've been there before. Years ago, there was a guy that stole a car from Green Township, was in the woods next to me. The police came up there. So they're quite aware that this is an open green space. And I think it was a lack of judgment on the sheriff's department personally. And if you could, please look into that.
I will look
Who's in
into it and
charge.
see what the judgment was, why they didn't have an officer.
And maybe it's justifiable.
Yep, that's what I'll check.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And I just got one question since Mr. Miller brought that up. And I know they set up a perimeter. So the perimeter had to be not 300 feet out, or they would have been up on his property. So it had to be just in the vicinity there, I think. So I'm asking you.
How far the perimeter was?
Yeah.
I can't tell you that without having the, SWAT team here or somebody good at that.
So the SWAT wasn't set up the perimeter.
No, but they would have instructed on how far if they wanted that or the inner, outer perimeter and the inner perimeter. So I don't know how far they took the outer perimeter.
Okay. I was just curious because it seems there would be at least 300 feet the outer.
Well, trust me, I believe that they thought they had
And I'm
subjects
just guessing.
in the, building.
Right.
So he scooted quick after the incident.
Right.
And they were there on top of it pretty quick, so he must have scooted in and out the back right away. Well, he scooted to it.
In the back is my way.
Well,
All right, any more questions for the lieutenant? Okay.
Do they have a system that they can notify the residents in that vicinity?
that's not usually, I'll be honest, that's used for, missing and endangered. Not usually used for homicides that I know of or those kind of critical incidents. There's definitely something I can look into, but I'm not.
I'm just.
There's not a system for that, no.
Yeah, because I know our crews was dispatched to the shooting. They stayed, what was our normal procedure, they stayed, and waiting for the area to be cleared, so they could go in. Well, I was there, over the stage talking to them, they got the all cleared, go get the victim. And it wasn't, seems not, I didn't feel the scene as secure if they're going up in front of his house with the victim laying there and they're pulling it up. And police officers were going to have, looking for this shooter. Because we had one pretty fast. But our guys were put on, but when they hear all clear, they went in. I have a concern. You know, I worry about the residents, I definitely worry about our people. You know, it's not something we have every day out there. I don't want to see, it's, no matter where. I'm close to home. And then I don't know if you know about this morning, 1:30, you know about the last one. Al?
No.
Nine police officers there that arrested the subject in a house that he was armed. This morning. So, you know, you start putting two deals together, what's going on out there? Just, I know.
I can tell you, the detectives and the, detectives and I also used some units from Reno around late last night. We're both following up on this investigation. I don't know if that's the same one you're talking about or not, but it was just, they were out pretty late last night. So, that might be.
All right, any more questions for the lieutenant? All right, okay, thank you. All right, administrators report, Mr. Brett.
First, I'd like to thank the lieutenant for keeping me informed so I can keep the board up to date with what's going on. I appreciate all that. I heard from him, heard from Sergeant Carney, so Sheriff's Department did a good job of keeping us informed as to what was going on, so we appreciate that. I'd like to be the first to welcome Wayne Miller to his thank you. So we'll hear from him later on. Jordan Road, we talked about the tank bill last meeting. The advertisements are going to be in the paper for the engineering. Same for the, if we move on to the parking lot at West Park, the additional parking. When I wrote this, we were still waiting on the final legal counsels to exchange paper, and they would have had this thing thin as could be. You could read through it. Many times they passed it back and forth, but they settled on that yesterday about noon. The project's in the paper and being advertised. Both these projects are on our website as well. I'm going to the school district meeting next Tuesday because you had authorized me to execute that agreement. We're going to get that executed next Tuesday. So moving right along with water on Jordan Road. One issue that I'm going to call myself out on because I think this is something we haven't done a good job at for our people, as we've got a lot of nuisance complaints. Trustee Robinson has been by here twice this week and gone out and taken some pictures on his way around, and he got me some addresses and things. We're trying to write letters and we're trying to get people to do things. I want to thank Kim Day because last week she got so upset with our representative from the Hamilton County Zoning Department that she called in 4 days in a row just to get a letter written on a property that you started on 4 years ago over on Zion Road. And but honestly, I don't think he'd have done anything if she hadn't called in 4 days in a row. She did that on her own. So thank you, Kim, for stepping up and doing that. Otherwise, I don't think he'd have got out there yet. So we're spending a lot of time on nuisance properties, and we have some other things that I think should be more pressing and things that are more important. And I think you're going to mention door locks later on, employee policies and things like that. So I'm going to suggest again that we revisit hiring an expert to help with this, not to do all of them, but just the ones that we can't handle when we get overloaded like this and we're falling behind. I talked with Ed Lindenschmidt, who does pleas in the village of Madison. He's still interested in doing it. His price is still the same, $25 an hour. No benefits, no nothing. If we can handle it in-house and it's simple, we'll handle it in-house, but it's going to keep dragging out and we're not getting the things done that the folks deserve. I think we should at least bring that back up and talk about it.
So the problem I have with that is we have Jason Pastor, Ed can't cite people for the vehicles. That's what we got going on in Richtown, on Zion, on Briar Road. He can't cite for them, and Jason Pastor can cite for them.
He works with Jason in the villages, and
But Jason works for us. He's
Right.
our representative from the engineering center.
from the zoning.
Zoning
Yeah.
office. So he can't do any of that.
No, but he feels like he can get Jason to be more responsive for us.
I mean, it's starting in particular, it seems like Mr. Brett's bringing up that between himself, Stay, myself, others, is we're spending a tremendous amount of time to try to motivate Jason Pastor, and on some of those properties, and then the things that we can't handle and that Ed could handle. It would be nice to have someone that can dedicate their efforts and just try to stay on top of all that, on top of Jason, on top of the things we can and can't cite, and everybody's spending a lot of time and resources on this, where we have some big ticket items, some big issues that I think time could be better spent. Just a thought.
And he would just be on the as needed basis. He understands that. We can get him to help us out and catch up.
To already get a county employee that is assigned to our area to do its job.
Well, there are things that we're trying to get done that aren't,
I mean, that's tough.
well,
That's tough for us to explain to our residents.
except what Ed will be able to do is do the things that the county zoning won't take care of. So,
And I realize that.
he can take care of some of the junk motor vehicle things on the lots,
Jump motor vehicle, what?
on the lots that are on property that, are actually where we have some complaints of side yard things that Jason doesn't have authority over, but we would through a nuisance complaint, and high weeds and people not keeping their place up with trash and things like that Jason can't do. Those are things that Ed could do. And I feel like if I'm sending Jason an email and Ed's sending him an email saying, I'm out of this property, can you take care of this? He's more apt to do it for somebody that he knows is, a professional working for us in that field. I just get that feeling, and I will be having a talk with the folks down in rural zoning about our dissatisfaction. I've been told by other people that he claims he's just stretched too thin as well, but we'll talk with the county about that, whether we they need to hire somebody else if there's that much going on, or what the problem is, but, for right now, I feel like we owe it to our residents to get these things under control for them. So,
I would say we're not talking about anything contractual with him. You know, here we try him on a trial basis. You know, 3 4 months, let's see what he can do, see if he's getting the results that we need. I'm trying to keep him. And I do see a lot of stuff. There seems to be more and more piling on. So,
and it's not just one of them. One every now and then. It's all of them. And they're all legitimate complaints. So, even.
yes, sir, Mr. Beck.
Yeah, hold on. Has this ever been discussed with Brian Schneider, who is Jason's boss?
I have not discussed it.
Well,
and that's what
I
thought.
my suggestion would be at the next meeting, ask Brian Schneider to come out here and stand at that podium and tell us what we can do to get a better reaction from.
Well, Jason Pastor's not doing a
Yeah.
good job.
I mean, we're wasting county money. If he's on the payroll, what has he done for Miami Township in the last year?
Right. I
Well,
told
it's
him.
not on the payroll, yeah, it just, and you know better, but we do pay a stipend or something.
Yeah.
Just for one time a year, but it's not a per case.
Yeah,
But, so I had a generic conversation, just asking, and basically got a generic answer of they're doing the best they can.
If you don't like it,
That
that's all we
was
got.
months and months ago, but not recent, yes. But
I think before you hire somebody to do it, you ought to have that Brian Schneider knows what's going on. So you don't have 2 people
Sure.
approaching the same residence.
I agree. And
I mean,
I think we should put it on the record like you suggest. If you invite him to our meeting, let's table this, we meet again in 2 weeks. The beginning of October.
and I think a good idea to bring another person, but I think Brian Schneider ought to be advised of what we're doing.
Then we can.
And I'm okay with waiting 2 weeks. I just think that, yeah, I've heard good things, good feedback from Cleves. I've heard good feedback from Axton.
Well, that's fine.
The working relationship when Ed and Jason start to team up, and I agree with some of the things you're saying as far as we shouldn't have to, but at the end of the day, it's not getting done. And our residents deserve this, to get this attention. And we don't have the bandwidth and capacity with our current staff and trying to run all around to stay up on all of these things. They're just compiling and getting backed up on.
And Cindy just looked it up, and the total that we're paying rules zoning,
About 5,000 a year.
5,000 a year. So that includes the land use plan rework, which, I think Sir Alderson we'll touch on probably later. So it's not like we're spending a lot of money on them, but it is difficult when
We still
we can't get a
we still
response.
expect them to do their job.
When we don't get a response, and it just keeps building and building and building. So, yeah.
So, well, we're gonna table that till October, beginning October meeting, and then you invite Brian Snyder down,
Oh, well,
so we can put it on the record in our working meeting. And then we can bring it up again, talk about it, and then we need to feel the need to hire, and then we can move forward.
What's Brian's last name again?
Snyder.
All right, that's your time today.
So,
You good with that?
okay, last thing on my list today, just another reminder, Cindy and I have coffee with Jim and Cindy, everybody's invited. We had a very nice gentleman stop in today. Said he used to come to the meetings and, hasn't been here for a while. But he never understood how our financing worked, and I think we left here with a really good understanding of, what money's gonna be spent on what. For instance, he did not know that we took care of township roads. He thought the county took care of all the roads. So he was amazed at what we spend on that and how many miles that we actually, are responsible for, so. Yeah, so we have a couple more of these, we're gonna be October 8th. 9 to 11, and October 16th, 3 to 5. And then Cindy and I are talking about just setting that up quarterly throughout the year, and just so anybody can come in anytime. So if we get one person every time, I'd be thrilled.
That's a good idea.
That's all I have, unless you have questions for me.
Any questions for Mr. Brett, the audience? All right, we'll move along. Go to the fire department, Chief Schuman.
Good evening.
So for the month of August, there are a total of 205, calls in all the jurisdictions. 226 hours of training. We had several overlapping incidents. It seems like this last month we had one, we had multiple calls at the same time. Staffing is on your report. We did get a $9,000 grant from Marathon to help with fire loads and accessories for fire truck. So that to the rest. August 8th, we had jacket carriage for back to school fest. We had the open house on August 10th, which was a huge success. I bet there was over 500, 600 people that went through. All very positive. Got to talk about that stuff with some of the residents and the officers. If we can get stuff together in a short notice, we'd like to do it on October 12th. But that hasn't been finalized yet. So we're working on getting some participation from that stuff. I'll keep you posted on that kind of stuff. And I think that is all I have. I think I'm going to try to sometime in the near future, October, like to get it October, Red Cross and do some sort of a smoke detector place. Many things coming up, and everybody has any questions. Chief, do you want to go over this fire responses and EMS highlights real quick? Sure. We did put to Lawrenceburg for mutual aid structure fire in 826. There was a huge bill in front of Skyline. We were there for several hours, probably clean that up. Had a couple of strokes. We did some stroke alerts with the hospitals. Both patients had very positive outcomes. We continue to meet with the local EMS and regional committees to better our pre-hospital care, to include our self-hosted protocol that we operate under. We're working with Medi-Cal in the state of Ohio. They have a new system that's going to help us reimburse us some money, hopefully from Medicaid, Medicare that we don't necessarily get now. Preliminary numbers are around 160,000 that we could get back just for the program. Captain Yanko is working on that directly with Medi-Cal and regular in the state of Ohio folks. So that'll be neat if we're able to bring in two of our full-time folks who did medical school and now they have passed all the registry and everything else, so they're now able to act as paramedics. And we met with the Burger Nursing Home staff twice now just to build a relationship between us and them and build a rapport that they can call us on the phone or wherever we need to help them. I think we're going to do some training with them, that kind of stuff in the near future. We're going to start hydrant servicing again for the fall. So expect to see our crews down the road servicing and pumping hydrants for the winter season. Any questions for the chief?
Yeah, just that. Yeah, that was fantastic. So appreciate all your efforts. Yeah. Trust.
Chief, take number.
Yes.
What's the update on the new fire? What's it going to be?
So preliminary is it'll be done November 10th. At the county, and then
Local, the folks who we ordered the fire truck through will get it sometime mid-November, finish up the odds and ends stuff that they're responsible for, which we should have it here sometime first part of December. Is the goal. Now all that can change too, but there's two of them.
Two fire trucks.
Well, one fire truck and then a ladder truck.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Yeah.
Be a nice early Christmas gift.
Senior Center, Mrs. Herbert.
Okay, August activities. August sixth, we had a group that went to Columbus with Shine Bright Tours. And, they witnessed, craftsmanship from flag making, Buckeye candy, gourmet popcorn. And they saw the production of America's only metal whistle production. And then in Columbus, of course, they had lunch at the Smith's restaurant. You go there, you go to Columbus, right? August 13th, finally we had our program on fraud and senior exploitation. We've been trying to do that for months. And it was fantastic. It was so good. And that group was wonderful. And he's a prosecuting attorney for Hamilton County. It was really good. And he did how to stop scammers, how they worked, how to recognize red flags, how to protect ourselves. It was really, really good. And I'm so glad we had a really good turnout for that. And I'll try to do that probably here, maybe, you know, because it's such a good program and important one too. So yeah, it was fantastic. I was thrilled by it. But at the end of the program, I was a little freaked out. I'm gonna take my phone and my computer and toss them out the window. I was like, oh my God, it was really quite scary, but it's very informative. So I was very, very happy with that. August 23rd, we had a lunch in Senior Chorus at the Senior Center. Wonderful. They did such an amazing job. And we had like 75 people there. And yes, and we usually do all the cooking and everything when we were there, but we were like, oh my God, there's too many people to cook for, so we got so much good. It was a really, really good time. And you don't know this, but I've been in contact with Harrison, and hopefully they'll be our first stop, you know, for our senior course.
Yeah, going on over there.
Yeah. You know, like everybody's day, you know, so, yeah, so. 27th August, we had a special craft day. A member hosted a special card making class. August 30th, we went to an outing to the TPT studio. Members toured the studio and discovered the behind the scenes activities at the nation's first licensed public TV station. Upcoming, so Miami Township's We Thrive Committee, along with North Bend and Addison, we're offering a fall prevention program for the citizens of Miami Township. And people working cooperatively are actually doing the program. And let me read this so you guys kind of know that. It's called a Stepping On Program. It is a fall prevention workshop that meets 2 hours a week for 7 weeks. Trained leaders coach you to recognize your risk of falling and help you build the balance, strength, and practical skills you need to avoid a fall. So, like I said, it's 7 weeks long. Starts October 10th on Thursdays from 10 to 12. It's no cost. You have to be 60 in order to register for the class. So, it's pretty good. More information on the website for that, or you can call the Senior Center.
All right, any questions for Ms. Herbert? Questions for the
Oh,
board?
great.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, Maintenance Department, Mr. Miller. Meeting.
How you doing? Well, you don't know me, I'm Wade Miller, been here for 21 years. I want to thank you guys, doing for everything, for this opportunity, and for setting all my email up and the phones and everything. August,
This grass is actually kind of stopped. We've been pouring foundations, the cemetery, taking grades down. We didn't see it yet because of the rain, but we did topsoil in them. And at the park, trying to catch up on that, doing stuff down there. We did pick up our new trailer. That's what it's in. The two new guys you hired are great younger guys. Want to hire them, they work. They're very good hire. I had an email, had all the stuff. Ronnie was here in August, it was crazy. So the first week, but Jim, all that was here when I started, Mr. Beck.
Those are.
Any questions for Mr. Miller? Mr. Moreland?
Did they fill the position yet that was vacant when you got the upgrade and the other gentleman took your spot?
We're taking care of that tonight.
That's in, oh, you're taking care
We'll
of it.
take care of it.
So they're not taking any more applications. I can't get it.
No.
No, Barry, you didn't go.
You're too late.
Any questions? Any other questions?
Anything from the board?
And I want to thank Sissy, because you know all.
I just want to say congratulations, like, thank you for it. It's nice when you have, you know, and you have folks like yourself that have dedicated a lot of years for township and seamless, transition. And so we're excited to have you in that role. So appreciate that. Congrats again. And looking forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're all behind you.
Thanks.
All behind you.
I'll have more something.
Thank you. The first one, you got the first one out of the way.
Yeah. Jimmy.
All right, here's the long one. Safety, Mr. Hughes.
I'm gonna say.
I was gonna say, but I'm gonna show Jimmy.
All right.
Kind of, yeah, I feel like I'm kind of old because new job was sitting here. Chief and new public works director, I mean, I can remember them running around the firehouse, I was used to Miami and playing ball with them when they were young kids, and pretty proud of where they are now. They worked hard, nothing's handed to them. And I think the township is in really good shape. That's the last second. It's really good. Yes.
Thank you.
We concur. Please, we concur. So get away from getting old. Went to the Hampton Safety Council meeting, first one started, and so we can get our credits for some of our premiums, knock that cost down a little bit. The topic was really kind of rough. It was discussing if an OSHA inspector comes into your facility, how do you handle them? I don't know. The inspector coming in, I'm not going to talk about it, but we deal with her, so we work with a different organization because we're a public entity, and we've had our share before, and they have completed inspections and done monitoring, so we're well aware of what they do. Jim will have to do what, yes, but, yeah, we, are accident free. We finally got the one, injury that was, disability for a short period of time, and, he's back, everything's good. We have, had no accidents in the last quarter. So we're due for the year as far as, recordable incidents. I'm having a couple of problems now with, some of the claims being paid and workman's comp, but we're working through that. We've got a couple of guys that I think the hospital sent it to the wrong agency and sent it to their insurance. Which I don't know how that happened because he never gave me a card. So I think we got that taken care of, but you know, we don't want any of our employees to get hurt. We want to make sure we take care of it. The tax meetings tomorrow. Yeah, 11:30. So I'm hoping we'll get some of that. But things are, as far as my side, things are going good. The guys are working hard, the gals are working hard. They're working safely. I mean, that's all we really can ask. Is, anyone, friends of me, and, I did have a concern, I talked to Mike earlier, I said that might get some seat belt on that chair over there for Jim, when it fall out of it, it's pretty high. That's all.
All right, any questions for Mr. Hughes?
See, that wasn't long.
Thank you, Jim.
He said short.
Oh.
All right, facility review, need for there, Mr. Burgos.
What?
Good evening. First, I just want to say welcome to Wayne and just thank him for the open line of communication. We just had a chance to talk about how he wanted to handle maintenance requests and how we would handle park rentals and just if he would do things the same or different. And so it was nice to know just moving forward exactly how we do things. And I really appreciate that. I look forward to working with you. It's always an adventure with you, Wayne. So far for 2024, we have done 156 events, January through August. That's a lot of events, but looking ahead, it is most probably going to be even busier. So far on the books from September through the end of December, we have 109 events on the books, and I anticipate that will definitely grow. If it stayed at 109, we would have 265 total events for the year. At 265 events with an 80 guest average, that means that 21,200 community members and visitors would come to our facilities. I think that's very impressive. And it just makes it even more important to keep the line of communication open. I know how busy you are, but you do a phenomenal job maintaining everything as to everyone that's worked here. So we just need to keep that up. Also looking ahead, exciting things, December 6th, our Winter Wonderland, where we'll have several hundred people come through. And then I'm very excited that looking into next year, March 7th, 8th, and 9th, we were granted a train display by Queen City Railers. The only other tri-state area that does the full-size display is in Lakota. So the committee came and looked at our space and realized that they could do the full display here. So we're getting something that the east side has. So I'm excited. But anyway, I'm looking forward to closing out the year. It's hard to believe it's already September, but exciting things happening. So that's good. Oh, yes.
Any questions from us? All right, any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
I'll take
All
care.
right, Clark, Mr. Clark, do you have anything for JJ? I have not talked to him. I've been talking to Wayne a lot, what's going on there in Westport, but I know that baseball's wrapping up and we have, tryouts just ended up, right? Ended up with the 16 and under, 14 and under, then the little guys have all did their tryouts already. So, but I know they're gonna be trying to get practices in and stuff. I know that before the weather turns real cold, so.
That water line's done, they're just testing it tomorrow, so that goes to be open.
That's awesome. Good deal. Good. Good. All right, IT, Mr. Taylor, you got anything, Mr. Bright?
Yeah, I got that.
I can hit the highlights. Actually, I'm gonna left that like. So, there's a few outstanding items that he's waiting on. Couple of these are things that I didn't know about. They're small enough I can approve. Station 68 computer replacement for the basement. $900. Station 70 radio room monitor replacement, $125. I had him get us a price on a new camera and microphone system because what we get recorded here is not a very good quality. And
I thought it was just, we replaced the lights. My recollection was that he had some very large numbers with the proposal. Was not comfortable with those numbers, so tabled it and said that if, we continue to look at it.
So we just did the.
Yeah, that's.
Okay.
So, I wasn't. Pricey, so I asked them to get a couple others. We're also looking at cameras for Station 70 and Station 69. The chief would like to be able to do more training without having to have the people come from those stations up here, leaving those areas, having to be covered from up here. So we're gonna work with the chief. We're gonna get that done so they can have better communication between the meeting rooms, so that they can do their training and stay on staff at the station they're assigned to.
I think that's great. With today's technology, there's no reason.
One of the things that was an issue right before the meeting tonight, that's on his list, finding a door lock control replacement, pending review right now. And did you want to address that while we're here?
I gave it to Mike. So
Okay.
Sure. So this is something we've been dealing with for quite some time. It's getting progressively worse and stressing, with the staff. So door locks and camera system, and we had this discussion June 19th, and I would like to revisit it and see if the board is supportive of allocating the authorization to Mr. Brad to negotiate with Ricotta, correct? That's correct. And allow him to negotiate in the best interest of the township to get us upgraded the box camera system. Is that sufficient?
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion that we authorize Mr. Brad to negotiate on our behalf at best interest. I'll second.
Mr. Volrian?
Yes.
Mr. Blandon?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes.
So, thank you for that. I do want to mention we had a large power outage over the weekend.
Hold on just a second. I'm sorry. So do we need approvals on what you just read into the record? We need to take care of that, right?
Oh,
Well,
everything.
that's what I'm including. There's a, we included.
No,
These are specific items you brought up.
Yeah. Everything. I'm not comfortable with the camera, and that's the only thing that's above spending of it. So, but if you want to approve the.
Oh, no, that's fine.
The other two.
I'm fine.
Yeah, I just,
Go ahead.
I just want to make sure we get the best camera for the best price.
That's fine. Go ahead.
So we are dealing with that.
No.
Okay.
I
Just
I was just
more of
talking
an
about,
FYI.
I was just talking about these two issues.
Okay.
Let's see. I did want to mention with the power outage last weekend, when we switched from, when the power went out and we went to our generator, the computer for the door locks went down. Tim had to come in, remove the computer, reset it because we had an event here. And then, of course, later on, when the power came back on, we switched from generator to power. She had to come back in on Sunday and reset the lock for Sunday. So again, thank you, Kim, for doing that. So, and thank you to the fire department for keeping Barry and I updated on what was going on. With the power situation, and our new system will be a cloud-based system, so we'll be able to fix those things from home. There's a few other things on here that are his work list, but other than that, I think something that we need to discuss. So I think we can move on unless you have a question.
Okay. Sounds good. We will move on to new business. Do we move on to new business?
Yeah. So first item I have is, there was some, we talked about what the previous administrator and Reed was authorized to do hiring wise. And I have two things that I would like to be able to do. First, I would like to be able to work with Perry and the, event center, hire part-time event people without having to wait and go through the board. These are part-time people. They don't add any costs to the budget. This gets for more people to pull from. And while we're talking about part-time people, the event center, most of these are either older retired folks, if we can get them, or they're younger high school kids. And to pay for drug testing for those positions that may only work a few hours, they don't use any equipment, they don't have any power tools that they use. I know that back when you decided to drug test everybody, it was everybody, but I really don't see the benefit of paying for drug tests to those folks.
Right.
So I would like to just have your blessing to make those hiring decisions and then bring you the list when we made them for that part-time position. And I would like to eliminate the need for drug testing for that.
Okay. All right, does anybody want to entertain a motion for that?
I just got one piece on there, with the, okay, no, with the drug testing aspect, there is an accident though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's pre-employment.
Make a motion, the authority, the part-time event center employee hiring. So,
Eliminate the requirement of drug testing, pre-employment.
Second,
Mr. Valria?
yes,
Mr. Bland?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
yes.
So next item under new business, is, actually something that I'm very happy to tell everybody, in talking with Wayne about becoming our public works director. He's been our assistant public works director forever here. And, we have a gentleman on staff, Ryan Hoffman, who also applied for that position, who said he would be proud to move up and work with Wayne. They already, in just a week, they've already been working together great, and I would like you to approve Ryan Hoffman for the position of Assistant Public Works Director.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to rehire Ryan Hoffman to replace Wayne Miller in the Maintenance Department as Public Works Director.
I'll second.
Mr. Valria?
Yes.
Mr. Bland?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson?
Yes. Yeah, I think it's great to have that good continuity. Yes, I really think yes.
Mr. Brennan, thanks.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything from the public? We had someone request, be on the agenda and they were not able to make it. Anything else from anyone here? If you'd like to come up to the podium and state your name and go ahead and address the board.
My name is Barry Monroe. I'm 5612 going on. Just have a question, probably the director for staff here in Jim Brett. I've been coming to these meetings for quite some time, and I do try to take notes of things. And it's great that we move forward with the park down by the firehouse, what we call that, the back park.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at
That's
is, yeah, I thought that we moved forward and we had a final price on that. Am I correct? It was well over 600,000. That was the contractor and the equipment. And we approved that maybe 2 months ago. I noticed the contractors came in there and began to move forward. It looks great. Question I had, I came to the meeting 2 weeks ago and I should have said something then and I kept my mouth shut. We approved an additional 32,000 and some odd dollars for play equipment. And I'm thinking, that's great. But how did we miss that $32,000 1 month prior? Well, that's the question that I'm coming up with. How did we approve this large amount of money, which is okay, we all approved it, but within 30 days, we upped it $32,000. And there has to be, there's quite obvious a mistake there, am I right or wrong?
There was, because that $32,000 were two sets of items that were listed as an alternate. And so they were an option, would probably be a better term than alternate. So they weren't included in the original. We had talked with them about adding it. They didn't add it into their total. They added it in separate as an alternate, so we didn't have to choose that if we didn't pick that. We intended to pick that, we just didn't catch that it was an alternate, not included in the original. So
it was a form of a mistake.
yeah,
So what does that bring the total cost up to? Can anybody bring it up? Yes, we're up to over 700.
yeah, if you're willing to come over to my office, I can tell you that.
That's the only
I
thing
don't have
I
it.
had. I just thought that was odd. We made a mistake there. It's 37,000 is a lot of money. If we make mistakes, we're making mistakes elsewhere.
How big is play area?
Well, I will say I appreciate your attention, and some of your questions. And I also think that it's good that we're keeping track of the total cost of some of these projects, because it's easy when you're spending 30,000 here, 20,000 here, and 10,000 here. For it to just when you're going, it's like, okay, well, what did this end up costing us? So I appreciate those questions.
All right, anything else from you? All right, comments from the board, Mr. Ferguson?
Busy. We attended the Greater Cincinnati Chamber State of the Region event where township, cities, villages, folks from all over the area attended and talked about housing and the economy and inflation and all kinds of things that are impacting us. And it was striking to me how everybody's familiar with cities, everyone's familiar with villages, but townships are kind of an anomaly, and there wasn't a whole lot known about that. So it was eye-opening to have to try to talk with them and get a little more attention on townships, because for me, the townships are kind of the lifeblood of some of these counties, and it's important that we focus on some of that stuff. Actually, had the honor of attending the Builders Club event just earlier today. Mr. Beck was there and others, and it's great to see our school with the Key Club and the Builders Club, and kind of encouraging future leaders to get involved. On Sunday, I actually attended St. Joseph's. They had a dedication to their new cross and landscape area, and two of our Eco Scouts, which we have a partnership, and this board works very closely with our scouts, took that on as their Eco Scout project. And one of the trees that was struck there and at the field was struck by lightning, and they carved it out and used that same wood to erect this cross. And the Knights of Columbus, I believe, donated $4,000 and a lot of other. And then these young boys went out and solicited and got, I think it would end up being $15,000 or so for this. So great to see again these generations where you're questioning where they're whether they're going to be in it for the long haul, and it's great to see some of those kids. Our land use committee meeting was rescheduled. There's nothing we can do about that. Chris, he works for Hamilton County, came down with an illness, and so I know that we announced at the last meeting that was already scheduled on the books. Unfortunately, that had to be rescheduled. It's tentatively, is it Monday or Tuesday? I think Tuesday this coming week. So we're going to move forward with that and trying to approve the 5-year plan. I attended a 9/11 dedication. Had a speaker that spoke, and he was talking about his 20-year-old daughter, and he said he was talking about how we all know where we were on 9/11 and when the towers were struck, and he said, "Holy cow, my daughter is only 20; she wasn't born then." So I thought that was great to continue to remind folks of the significance of that. That might be it, but, was there anything else? That's fine. Yeah, good. So,
All right, Mr. Walrat?
Yeah, just, one last piece, on Saturday, Howard Seaver, you know, very, long-time resident of the township, was finally put to rest. You know, he had donated his body to science, but, he put the rest there, made the words of his white body, and, I was speaking with his son, Chris, who teaches at the academy, they're on the back dollar, but, he's very grateful, for the township, and, anybody that was involved with Howard, he was a really good guy, very much, donated a lot to the police state, making sure that, kids have what they need, so.
Mrs. Oda?
All I have is, Jim and I will be working on the budget for next year, so if you guys have anything, make sure we get it. October 18th, you guys can have it back to us. The big items, fire department's a little different, they need a little more line items for us, but I know with the levy, can you do one? Guessing and.
What's not done, I've been working on it.
I figured you would. Or Wayne, if
I
you
need
need
eight,
to talk,
I got nothing.
if you need to know more what to do and send in, just let us know.
Yeah, reach out to Jim also. So we go with everything it is, and we got this meeting on top of that.
Because, Ronnie had like a vehicle where it might be 25, 26,
No,
the rotation, because
Yeah, we got it
the
down there.
major equipment.
yeah, we got it.
Okay, cool.
That's
All
all.
right, thank you. So I just wanted to wish you congratulations to, even though I did, I'm already did, but we're on the record, so I wish you congratulations again. I'm glad for you, and I agree with Mr. Hughes. It's great seeing both of you grew up here, residents here, or was residents here, and you know, you're raising a family, so I think it's a win-win for the township, and you're very qualified to be for your position, so I'm glad you're both here.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
So do we have a motion to adjourn? I will make a motion to adjourn.
second,
Mr. Walrath?
Yes.
Mr. Blaine?
Yes.
Mr. Rush?
Okay.
yes.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for coming.
Don't worry.